My dear students, hearty welcome to my online class today in the form of a recorded video lecture where we are discussing about value of biodiversity. The topic continuation of my topic in the earlier class. Okay, we had discussed about different levels of biodiversity, different types of biodiversity. Now it's the time for us to understand the value of biodiversity, which in terms of its commercial utility, ecological services, social and aesthetic value, the value is enormous and we get benefits from each and every living organism that is present on this globe. And in fact, most of the times, by the time we realize and appreciate the value of the organism, by over exploitation we would have made it extinct. It would have got lost from the earth. So it is the time for us to have a fair ecological balance for ecological bonification purpose. At the same time, we should exploit all organisms which could be a potential source of some drug or anything. Okay, and the value of biodiversity can be presented in different subheadings like this. First one is consumptive use value. These are the direct values where the biodiversity product can be harvested and consumed directly, like in the form of food, in the form of drug, in the form of fiber, in the form of fuel, etc., etc. And coming to the biodiversity sources as food, we are here and consume number of wild plants as food. About 80,000 edible plants have been reported, which serve as food, right? And 90% of present-day food crops have been domesticated from these wild tropical plants. This will tell us the value of biodiversity. And now our agricultural scientists are also making use of these wild varieties which are closely related to our crop varieties for developing hardy strains. Okay, so wild relatives usually, they will have better tolerance and hardiness, and both these characters are very much appreciable if they are present in our cultivated plants. This is how the biodiversity can be exploited as food. And then we make use of these species, plant species, other than as food. We use them as drugs and medicines. Okay, about 75% of the world's population, depends on plants or plant extracts for medicine. And the antibiotic, often used penicillin, is an antibiotic that is derived from a fungus called penicillium. In the same way, tetracycline is also of bacterial origin. And then quinine, which was the only cure for malaria in olden days, actually is obtained from the bark of cinchona tree. And so also digitalin, an antibiotic, is obtained from digitalis plant, which is an effective cure for heart ailments. Recently, two anti-cancer drugs have been designed from the extracts of Catharanthus roseus, commonly called periwinkle, sada pushpa athwa nitya pushpa ant karitivi, and they are quite effective against cancer. So like this, we use We use these alkaloids as anti-cancer agents to treat cancer. In the same way, large number of marine species are supposed to possess anti-cancer properties which are yet to be exploited systematically the way we have exploited the Catharanthus roseus extracts. Apart from drugs, medicines and food, we do use this biodiversity for fuel purpose, and our forests since times immemorial have been used for fuel wood, and so also the fossil fuels like coal, petroleum, natural gas, etc. They are all products of fossilized biodiversity. So the plants and animals, even after they get fossilized, they are, useful for human race in the form of fossil fuels. So firewood collected by individuals are not normally marketed, but they are used for domestic purposes, and therefore hence they have consumptive value. This is the first aspect where biodiversity, first value of biodiversity, where it is used as consumptive use value. Okay. Then the second one happens to be productive use values. In the sense, in this category, are the commercially usable values. These are the commercially usable values where the product is marketed and sold. This includes a number of, gene resources, that can be traded for use by scientists. Okay. And these traits, desirable traits can be incorporated into our crops and domesticated animals. They may include animal products like elephant tusks, then musk from musk deer, silk from silkworm, wool from sheep, then fur of many animals, and lac, rala anta karitivalla adu, lac from lac insects, etc. And today they all have entrepreneurship values. People have developed industries, and they are dependent upon the productive use of biodiversity. Apart from this, we have some other industries like paper and pulp industry, plywood industry, railway sleeper coach industry, silk industry, textile industry, ivory works, leather industry, pearl industry and whatnot. So, like this, you can make use of biodiversity from its productive use values. But only thing is, it should not be used in the negative sense, for poaching and then for making smuggled goods and all. That gives a wrong message. Then the third value of biodiversity happens to be the social value, and these are the values associated with the social life, customs, religion, psycho-spiritual aspects of people. Many of us, we worship Tulsi Gida, then people tree, Arli Gida, mango, lotus, etc. Then even these creepers of beetle leaves, like that. The leaves, fruits and flowers and all possible parts of these plants are used in worship, or sometimes the entire plant itself is worshipped like a Tulsi plant. And especially the tribal community are very closely linked with the wildlife in the forest. So those social life songs, dances, etc., they have closely, woven around the wildlife. And many animals like cow, snake, bull, peacock, owl, etc. also have significant place in our psycho-spiritual arena, right? For example, cow, ಇದು ಯಾವುದು ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಬಂದು ಈಶ್ವರನ ವಾಹನ, snake It is worshipped as Nagaraja, then bull, then peacock is the vehicle of Lord Ayyappan, owl is the vehicle of Goddess Lakshmi, like that. Garuda is the vehicle of Lord Vishnu, like that. Thus, biodiversity has distinct social value attached with different societies in different countries. Then the fourth category happens to be the ethical value, sometimes known as existence value. This has the concept of deep ecology. Deep ecology ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ ಇಕೊಲಾಜಿಕಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ. ಅದರದ್ದು ಡಾಗ್ಮಾ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಬಿ ಪ್ರಿಸರ್ವ್ಡ್. ನನಗೆ ಭೂಮಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಬದುಕಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಹಕ್ಕಿದೆಯೋ ಭೂಗೋಳದ ಮೇಲಿರುವಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆ್ಯನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಬದುಕಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಹಕ್ಕಿದೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ಸ್ ಎಥಿಕಲ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಆಲ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಪ್ರಿಸರ್ವ್ಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೀವ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಲೆಟ್ ಲೀವ್. If we have to survive andre, we must protect all our biodiversity, okay, because biodiversity plays a very important role, right? So this is about ethical values, and sometimes ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅದರಿಂದ ಏನು ಪ್ರಯೋಜನ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಹಕ್ಕಿಯಿಂದಾಗಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಅನಿಮಲಿಂದಾಗಲಿ. ಬಟ್ ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ಆಫ್ ಅಸ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ಫೆಲ್ಟ್ ಸೋ ಬ್ಯಾಡ್ ವೆನ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಪಿಜನ್, ಪ್ಯಾಸೆಂಜರ್ ಪಿಜನ್ ಡೋಡೋ ಬಿಕೇಮ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟಿಂಕ್ಟ್. ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಎದ್ದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಮಗೆ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ಗುಬ್ಬಚ್ಚಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಗುಬ್ಬಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಾನೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಗುಬ್ಬಚ್ಚಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಾನೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ರಿಯಲಿ ವಿ ಫೆಲ್ಟ್ ಸಾರಿ. There might not be any direct help or they may not be of some use to us, but we feel extremely sorry if we don't see them, right? In the same way, whether it is kangaroo or zebra or giraffe, ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಷ್ಟೇನೆ. ಅದು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ ವಿ ಫೀಲ್ ವೆರಿ ಬ್ಯಾಡ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದೆರ್ ಈಸ್ ಅನ್ ಎಥಿಕಲ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಆರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ಡ್ ಟು ಈಚ್ ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್ which we all have to respect. Then the fifth biodiversity value happens to be aesthetic value. Great aesthetic value is attached to the biodiversity. People from far and wide spend lot of time and money to visit wilderness areas, and they enjoy the aesthetic value of biodiversity. And this type of tourism now is known as ecotourism. In fact, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂಗೆ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಗ್ರಾಜ್ಯುಯೇಟ್ ಡಿಪ್ಲೊಮಾ ಇನ್ ಇಕೋ ಟೂರಿಸಮ್ ಅಂತ ಕೋರ್ಸಸ್ಸೇ ಆಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿವೆ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟೀಸ್. ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದುಡಿದು ಬೇಸತ್ತಾಗ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ ಲೈಫಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಲಿ ಈ ರುಟೀನ್ ಸಿಟಿ ಲೈಫ್ ಜಂಜಾಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಸತ್ತಾದಾಗ we will be waiting for some vacation to come, make ourselves free, go back to our mother earth and enjoy life. So this here actually the biodiversity plays the aesthetic role. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸರಿ ಕವಿಗಳಿರ್ಬೋದು, ರೈಟರ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, they get enlightened the moment they look at a big mountain or a rich biodiversity, and we ourselves feel we are losing lot of negative energy from our body when we are in close association with the nature. There lies the aesthetic value of biodiversity. Okay, so and commercially also it is a $1 billion industry, right? It is estimated to generate about $12 billion, right? Next is option values. Option values ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ ನಾವು ಈಗ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ಆ್ಯನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ವಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಸೋ ಮೆನಿ human miseries, human sufferings, human diseases cured. But there is a rich biota on this globe. Actually, we don't know their potential use. Some of them may be they have potential cure for properties with the potential cure for AIDS or cancer, like that, whether it could be in a marine ecosystem or a tropical rainforest like that. So, the option values ಏನು ಅಂದರೆ we should keep on hunting these biological reserves on this biosphere, wherein they prove an effective option for something in the future. So, this suggests that any species may prove to be a miracle species someday. Once upon a time, ನಾನೇನು ಮುಂಚೆ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಕೆಥೆರಾಂಥಸ್ ರೋಸೈಯಸ್ ಅಂತ, ಅದನ್ನ ಬೇಲಿ ಗಿಡ ಅಂತ ಬಿಸಾಕ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ, ಬೇಲಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳೆಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ ಅದು. ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ after people have started extracting the alkaloids which are anti-cancerous in nature, now it has become a golden plant for the farmers. So like this, the biodiversity gives us precious gifts. This is what I exactly meant by option value. Then we have one more thing, ecosystem service value. Andre, it provides services like prevention of soil erosion, ಮಣ್ಣು ಸವಕಳಿ ತಡೆಯೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂದರೆ we plant certain plants like that. Then they help us in prevention of floods. Then they help in reclamation of soil fertility. They help us in cycling of nutrients, nitrogen fixation, water cycling, and they play a role, as carbon sinks, pollutant absorbents, then the reduction of threat to global warming like this. So different categories of biodiversity value clearly indicate that species and genetic diversity what we have, we have to conserve them for the future and also for our existence. Okay, then these are all different biodiversity values, and here I want to give you the table where biodiversity value of some selected organisms, in monetary terms, like a male lion, which is 7 years old, can generate up to so many dollars due to its aesthetic value paid by the tourists, or if it is killed, its marketplace is $1,000. Then ಕ್ಯಾನಿಯನ್ ಎಲಿಫೆಂಟ್ ಅದರ ಬೆಲೆ 1 ಮಿಲಿಯನ್ ಟೂರಿಸ್ಟ್ ರೆವೆನ್ಯೂ ಫೆಚ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲೇ ನಾವು ಜ್ಞಾಪಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾದ್ದೇನು ಅಂದರೆ ನೀನಾರಿಗಾದೆಯೋ ಎಲೆ ಮಾನವ ಅಂತ ಜಾನಪದ ನುಡಿ ಕೂಡ. ಇನ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ವೇ ದ ವೇಲ್, whale watching on Harvey Bay on Queensland earns about $12 billion, annually. Like that, tourism to Great Barrier Reef in Australia. So one tree provides so many worth of ecological things like oxygen, clean air, fertile soil, erosion control, wildlife habitat, toxic gas moderation, etc. So like this, biodiversity has its own values, and dear students, you may be asked to write a short note on these biodiversity values, wherein you have to write the answer covering all these points. Okay, so this is all what I wanted to tell you regarding the value of biodiversity. With this, I end my lecture. Okay, I end my lecture. Thank you for your patient hearing. Thank you for your patient hearing. Thank you.